Hi there, Serial Trader here. I just want to do a bit of a larger time frame look at Bitcoin, and I'll certainly get to the short-term pattern as well, because that's what I think's what we need to focus on here, um, as far as trading goes, at least. But okay, so we had this major low in December 2018. I believe that was the bear market low. In fact, 32.15. So right around 3,200, we'll say. That's on the Bitfinex chart here. Now we had the initial impulse wave up for wave 1. We had the sharp wave 2, and now obviously we've been in this third wave move. Third waves are certainly the easiest to identify, at least after they've unfolded, because they're unlike anything else. They are almost vertical, right? A real strong third wave. There's no other price movement that looks like that. It's very impulsive. Prices move very quickly in a relatively short period of time compared to other phases in the market. So yes, very confident we are in a third wave, or potentially finished, although I'm not really willing to go there just yet. But that's important information, because once this third wave completes, we will get a wave 4 corrective period, and you tend to see balance between wave 2 and 4. And usually wave 4 is actually a little longer, if anything, than wave 2 as far as time. So since wave 2 was pretty long and actually sharp, so it was a zigzag, that's considered a sharp correction, even though it also consumed, multiple months of time here. I mean, we started in June of 2019 and didn't bottom until March of 2020, so that's a lot of time consumption. Now, I don't expect as severe of a price correction here in a wave 4, and wave 4s tend to be milder as far as their retracement, but I do expect a possibly larger time correction, and that would be where we do a, possibly triangle formation, where we basically chop sideways within a volatile range for an extended period of time. And again, I think I pointed out in the last little video, but just to put it up there, this is making a bunch of assumptions, but if wave 3 completed here at just under 65, and this is just for illustrative purposes, I'm not actually saying or even thinking that wave 3 is necessarily completed here, but if it did, and wave 4 consumes just simply an equal amount of time to wave 2, that would take us to December of 2021 for a possible wave 4 bottom. Now, interestingly, Bitcoin does tend to make some pretty significant pivots in December, and I won't go through them all, but just one that obviously comes to mind here. December of 2018 is when we made this bear market low. So it's possible if we've just started a long wave 4 correction, we could make the corrective low, or at least finish correcting in December of 2021. That wouldn't be bad as far as past timing relationships as far as Bitcoin goes. So just food for thought there. And of course, it doesn't have to be a triangle. It could be a flat, 3. Hang on there. It could be 3 down, 3 up, 5 down, 3, 3, 5, right? It could be a WXY, right? Some complexity. It could be a WXYXZ, triple zigzag, or triple 3. Okay, so there's too many corrective pattern choices to have any reasonable confidence as to what pattern it will be until it really gets developing and we have some data to work with. But that is a reasonable expectation, given that we have a wave 2 that has not had a corrective, or sorry, an equivalent wave 4 yet, as far as time or price correction. And it looks like we have a relatively mature wave 3. Now, I've gone in here on the shorter time frames, and there's ways you can count this up as complete, and there's ways where no, you need some more subdivisions to the upside to complete it. And I don't really have a high level of confidence either way, so that's why I want to go back in here on the well, at least let's look at the daily for starters. Now, what kind of grabs my attention is the possibility that we just have an expanded flat here, okay? And ignoring the overall count, just look at the more immediate pattern or price action at hand here. You can easily make this as a 3 down for A 3 up to new extreme for B, and possibly developing 5 waves down for C, okay? And if I just show you the subdivisions, be like A, B, C for A. Let me drop the degree here by 1. So just bear with me. A, B, C for A. A, B, C up for B. And then perhaps the 5 waves down for C. And we discussed in the last video that it's possibly 5 waves down, but it's also possibly a corrective pattern. It's not overly clear because of some of the internal subdivisions. But if this is the case, this looks like a pretty decent expanded flat, right? 3 down, 3 up to new extreme, 5 down to new extreme. That's classic expanded flat, and then we go up and make new highs again. So that's certainly possible, okay? And that's just disregarding the overall position of where we are. Sometimes you get caught up in what the overall wave count is, but you neglect, well, what's the immediate pattern at hand? Well, we did, from our prior high, we did 3 down, and then we did 3 up to new high, and then we did 5 down to new low. That's, you know, a pretty good expanded flat candidate, right? Now, another thing that's kind of been catching my attention is the possibility of an ending diagonal, and that's basing, we'll call it off of this low here, just under 30K, and that's where we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And if that's the case, we just did an ending diagonal, and we have certainly started a nice downward move. This could be the wave 3 top, right? Finish wave 3 with a, 5 wave ending diagonal, which is a terminal move, which means once it's complete, it'll be swiftly retraced to the downside. Well, we've certainly begun a swift retracement. But if it doesn't keep going, which it looks like we're at near a short-term bottom, if it doesn't actually keep going and retrace the full pattern, then we have to lean back on that potential expanded flat and back up to new highs. But this does look like a decent ending diagonal, and it certainly has rejected in a swift manner the way it would need to be an ending diagonal. And if that's the case, that may have put in the wave 3 top, and we've started our time-consuming wave 4 correction, which could last many months, basically the rest of the year or more, right? That's certainly possible. But all that's just kind of throwing some ideas out there. I mean, a lot of these things, they're no more high confidence than the other, so it doesn't provide much use as far as positioning around it, right? These are all just potential patterns that, until confirmed or denied, are certainly possible. Now, if we go in on the 2-hour chart and just focus on this, now you know from the last video that this could either be a 5-wave sequence down in progress, or depending how you count it, could be a double zigzag. But either way, so I just want to focus in on this triangle again, and that's where we got our A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, I'm very comfortable with that being a contracting triangle, and that is a good piece of information because that precedes the final move in a sequence. So if this is a 5-wave sequence down and that's triangle wave 4, that will precede the final move down in wave 5, which it looks like we're already in. Or if that is a triangle, wave X or B of Y, and this is our 5-wave down in C of Y, that's basically the same message. We're about to put in a low of some magnitude. So we do have the 1, 2, like that is the 3, and looks like we're actually doing a potential triangle 4, and then we need the one more wave down in wave 5. And let me just put on the smaller degree triangle labels here. so far it's working, right? So far you're just in this contracting range, making lower highs, higher lows. Looks like we're potentially on this 2-hour on this 2-hour chart starting to break down, possibly for our wave 5 move down, right? Let me lower the degree on that. So it looks like, and let me just do some fib extensions to the downside. So we take the A wave of this triangle, if it is in fact a triangle. So far it's certainly behaving like one. Get some targets, so that gets us down to 1.32 is 46,000 or so. If we go real severe, right around just under 44,000, so 43,806 for the 2 relationship. And I mean, basically, this is what I'm looking for. If we can get a nice quick stab down here, I'm looking for this for to complete my entry that I begun there on Friday. So at that point, we'll have 5 waves down completed out of a triangle, and also a smaller degree triangle for our 5th of the sequence, and we'll be very oversold. So if we look at 4-hour RSI, obviously 4-hour oversold RSI has been a pretty reasonable, at least short-term entry point. You can see got a nice bounce out of there, obviously a nice bounce out of there. I think if we were to thrust down one more time, you'd probably get oversold again, or even better, you'd get a divergent low. So RSI might get almost oversold or kind of oversold, but less oversold than before, even though the price made new low. So that'd be a nice bullish divergence if that developed. If we look at the daily RSI, we're just about oversold on that. We're at 31.74. If we go back, when's the last time we had daily RSI in this range? Was it a buy or was it a sell? Well, over here, we didn't even get quite that low. We got down to low 30s, and obviously that was a good low entry point. So last time we got this low on daily RSI, it was a pretty good buy. So just food for thought with the oscillator there. Now, it doesn't mean much on its own, but viewed within the context of us about to finish something here to the downside to complete a pattern, I think that's a nice complementary oscillator. Now back to the 2-hour chart. Yeah, I think basically over the next couple days here, we should get a nice move down to finish, and a great entry point for some sort of move back up. Now it may not be back up the new highs. This could be the wave 3 high, and we're going to do more complex correction for a number of months here. But even if that's the case, there's going to be little subdivision opportunities to trade here. Depends what time frame you're operating on. But for me, once we get this final stab down, make new lows, that would be just ideal for at least a corrective bounce up, probably back up at least into this range of this contracting triangle. So I'd say mid 50s for a bounce would be like my minimum expectation, if it is just a bounce and not actually starting something back up to the upside. All right, so yeah, I don't want to get too caught up in the weeds here, but just get rid of some of the shorter term stuff. My real focus was just the context of where we're at in the larger trend. I think we're quite mature in wave 3, if not already peaked, and we have to adjust our thinking for a more sideways corrective kind of environment for a while, and that's going to probably disappoint a lot of people and frustrate them. But if you're prepared and anticipating it beforehand and it happens, it's not going to be as damaging to you, and maybe you'll just think, okay, I'm either going to try and trade these little shorter term moves and not try and just buy something and hold it for these huge wave 3 gains, which obviously just can't continue indefinitely without another setup. Or you might just say, well, I'll just sit this out, pool capital, have it ready and waiting for when wave 4 looks mature, and then I'll start getting in here aggressively, anticipating the wave 5 up, which will probably be pretty powerful, and that'll probably take us well into our 6-figure range, I would think. So just some food for thought there on Bitcoin, and definitely looking for another shorter term entry here within the next couple days, maybe tomorrow, early next week, I'm thinking, maybe tonight, right? So we'll see. All right, Serial Trader signing off.